Welcome to Backyard Bows. Hey, welcome to Backyard Bows. I'm Brandon, and today we have our first Hoyt budget bow on deck. So we did the Venom Pro, we did the RX-7, and now we have the Torrex, which is Hoyt's one and only, what I consider a budget bow, more of an affordable bow. And they're claiming, shootability, dependability, and affordability is this bow in a nutshell. I'm not gonna doubt the shootability and dependability. I think Hoyt makes some great products, but is it worth the $200 extra that you would pay for the Torrex, and then the $300 extra you would pay for the Torrex XT? So that's what we'll do a review on today. We'll go over both bows, what they have to offer, the differences between them, and we'll kind of break down the bow in itself. We'll obviously shoot it a whole bunch, and we'll see and kind of make a determination by the end of this. Is it worth, this would be the priciest budget bow that we've had in here. The Torrex XT is $899. So you're looking at almost $1,000 for what I would consider is a budget bow or budget bow package. So 33/4 inches axle to axle, 7-inch brace height for the Torrex, 6-inch brace height for the Torrex XT, a little shorter on the axle to axle. This is 3.8 pounds, the XT is 4 pounds. I think the main difference is that shorter brace height is gonna get you about 10 extra feet per second on the IBO. So where this is 327, the XT is like 336, so almost 10 extra feet per second. Looking at the entire bow in a nutshell, it is the simplest of budget bows, from the cable guard to the string stop to the limb pockets, which are some of the first all plastic limb pockets that we've seen. It does have a little grooved out part on the inside, just like we saw on the other bows from Hoyt, which I like to see, but the limb pocket, there's no aluminum liner, nothing, it's plastic, the entire limb pocket. The grip also, it's this really slick plastic. When I first grabbed it, I was like, man, I would immediately put some tape on this. I loved the grip on the RX-7 so much that this stood out to me right off of the bat. It's just a really slick plastic. The riser, same reflexed back bridge, Hoyt kind of design that goes into these. It does look really nice and solid. But this bow goes from 26 to 30. The XT goes from 25.5 to 30. And the one thing I do love that Hoyt does is they put these little stickers underneath. It's such a simple, easy thing that a company can do so that you're not having to look up a diagram or a graph online. You can easily just go back to it, A through I. You have your A through I, 2 rotations with a star wrench, and you can adjust your draw length really simply. I think that's such an easy, simple thing that I love that Hoyt does, is puts that right there on the limb for us. So we'll do couple shots. From just sighting this thing in, it does perform. It shoots really, really well. It's a really, really nice, clean draw cycle to it. I got a couple little trophy ridge accessories on here with a whisker biscuit, little bee stinger, really simple setup. The draw cycle and the hold from those first shots I shot, it was nice. So So I think the draw cycle is fairly smooth. It does have a little bit of a valley, but it's not a jerk, and I think if you anticipate that, you could really ease into that nicely. So again, the more you shoot a bow, the more comfortable you, kind of more of that draw cycle, the little ups and downs that you can anticipate. And it's one of those where like you could catch on really simply and really quickly and just anticipate that, and then it just goes right back. But that first pull, you want to pull, you're pulling back as hard as you can, and then it does feel like there's a generous valley let off, but I think a generous valley into that let off. But I think if you anticipated that, it would smooth out nicely. Little bit of vibration in the hand. I like the back wall on this a lot. Once those cams roll over, man, this is really nice and solid. Very little torque. This is a really nice little bow. Would be an amazing first bow for somebody to start out with. A full-grown man can use this bow, all the way to a younger teen kids. They do have tons of draw weight options, 30, 40, 40, 50, 50, 60, 70. And then they even have like a 55 to 65 in the XT, so that's another difference between the two. But I think overall, this is a fantastic bow. Again, is it worth a couple extra $100? You kind of have to think of it like, well, if you're already going to pay those couple extra $100, why not just save up for another $100 or $2, $100 or $2, save your money and get a flagship bow, you know, something that's going to have, you know, the highest of quality and durability kind of setup that you can get. So that's kind of like, you know, what are you paying for? You know, are you paying for that Hoyt to be on that limb? You know, I don't know. I don't know. We'll have to shoot this a whole bunch more before I can really kind of make that, you know, make that assessment. But right off the bat, I mean, I think the hold is my favorite. That back wall is really, really nice. And for it has a little bit of vibration in the hand. I hate this grip. That plastic grip for some reason. It's not, I love the shape of it. It's the same shape as that RX4, but it's just a plastic instead of that real, you know, gritty rubber that I liked from the other one. But for having a cable guard that slides on a rod, that's probably one of the more smooth draws that we're gonna see. So if in the end, if that's what you're paying for, I mean, it wouldn't be worth it to me, but we'll go outside. We'll shoot a whole bunch more before we kind of make those final assessments, but yeah, it's a nice shot. Shoots a little bit better than what I was anticipating. Let's go ahead, let's go outside. It's beautiful out. Let's go do our freestyle shoot. So now on to the freestyle shoot. This is obviously the best part of our reviews. And the reason we do this is because, man, you can tell a lot with the single shot assessment inside, but it doesn't give you that full picture of how a bow holds, the shootability, as we say, of the bow. That kind of comes from the lots of reps that you put outside in the field. And we do as many as we can throughout a whole day. So we're not just shooting it the 5 or 6 times that we shoot it on camera. We're shooting it maybe 100, 150, sometimes 200 times throughout an entire day. So from up here, we got a bore at 25 and a buck at 30, which is what we're gonna start at. Man, and I'll point this out every time. I'm a hunter. I'm not a 3D shooter. I usually go for a heart and then a double lung, spacing my arrows out. You know, so if you're watching my videos and you say, man, his groupings aren't that great, it's not necessarily because I'm not trying to. It's just kind of my, when I'm shooting at a 3D target, I shoot for a kill shot. I do like the hold of this bow. I can't, sometimes it just sticks out right from the beginning. Right when you get past that little hump in the draw, it sets in so nice. The back wall is super nice. It holds really well. And for a budget type bow that has this cable guard that slides on that rod, it's probably one of the smoothest that we've had in here. All right, so let's go up one to the buck. Shooting from up here down on that buck at 30 yards, this is like my favorite shot this time of year. We're 3 weeks into hunting season. That's the shot I'm looking for in the field, and man, I love shooting from up here down on that buck. And I'm not gonna lie, the smoothness of this draw, it's loosening up. So we've talked about that too, how bows will kind of loosen up the more arrows you put through them, but man, that draw is just so smooth. I think across the board, Hoyt, the new HBX cams for the Venom and the RXs, some of the smoothest draws from Hoyt all around this year. This is awesome. Let's set up and we'll do some longer range shots. So another thing for a budget bow, man, this thing was super easy to get the timing and to get it tuned. You know, little twist of the cables, really simple. They come slip right off the side here, give them a twist and they slip right back on. Really, really simple to use. So I like that too. I had a, we'll do turkey 20, buck 30, mama bear 40, and then we'll jump up to the elk at 50. I had somebody comment the other day on trying to make a decision whether or not they should put down a bow that they had used for 8 to 10 years and would it be worth buying themselves a new bow. And I told him I'm not a salesman, so we're not sponsored by any bow company. We're not trying to sell you a bow by any means. And so I gave him an honest assessment as, hey, if it works for you and you feel confident in the quality of the bow at the time, keep using it. I think the one thing that you could get from buying a new bow is probably some increased speeds, depending on what you go with, and then the reassurance that you're buying something brand new and the quality is, you know, new. So those are the two things. With these budget bows, all across the board, every budget bow we got, incredible. We'll go to the buck at 30. So, and I said this in one of my first videos, I think the quality of the budget bows in 2022, I think the quality is amazing. I think they're outperforming flagship bows from 4 or 5 years ago. So I think across the board, no matter, especially the ones that we've reviewed, you really can't go wrong with these budget bows for the prices. And that's kind of where this one stands out a little bit differently. This one is fairly more expensive. Man, let's go, we'll go to the black bear next. So, you know, are you know, paying for performance with the extra money that you're gonna spend on this bow with Hoyt than some of the other budget bows that we've reviewed? Or are you paying for this little emblem here that says Hoyt? This is gonna be a tough one for me, because this is a very well-performing bow. I love the way this thing shoots. I love the way it handles and holds. Is it so much better to me than the Whitetail Legend Pro from Bear, the Alaskan from Bear, the PSC Brute or a PSC Drive? Some of those bows, does it distance itself so much that it'd be worth $200 potentially for the XC300 extra dollars? I'm not 100% convinced, but man, this is, for a budget under $1,000 and well under, you know, $799, so it's $200 under $1,000. This is a fantastic bow. We'll go black bear 40. So it gets 326 on the IBO. So we'll go inside here in a second and we'll see what that gets with my arrow. But I think it's going to be right around you know, my Z7 or some of those older bows that I hunted with, and I never ever thought twice about the speed. So I think that's a perfectly fine speed, probably right under 280s. But man, now that I have this thing out here in my hand shooting at some of these longer targets, this thing is surprisingly a really nice bow. So now let's get up to that last target up at 50 yards. All right, so I haven't 100% made up my mind, but the more I shoot this, the more I'm leaning towards, if you have the money, this is probably one of the best budget bows that you can buy. And kind of Hoyt does it again. It's like, man, this is the GOAT of the budget bows as of right now. This is an awesome bow. This thing shoots amazing just right off of the bat. And we'll see as we jump up to that 50, but I have a feeling this has to be one of the best. There's a couple things, the grip I don't like, And I said it earlier, I also don't like the plastic, the limb pockets. But other than that, this bow surprised me all around. So let's go elk at 50. This thing is a breeze to shoot. The draw cycle has loosened up to the point where it's like almost effortless to pull this thing back, and it's set at 70. I feel like I am easily consistent, not putting much effort or concentration. I mean, this thing sets up just as good as some of the flagship bows that we've seen, if not better. It's one of those bows that I feel like I could just shoot it all day, which we will. We'll shoot, we'll put it down, take breaks, shoot again, but this is just, the hold on this is awesome. It's just, I feel like put some metal limb pockets on this bow, put that rubber grip on there, and there you have another flagship bow. I mean, that's a great bow. All right, so last piece of the puzzle, the Torrex got 326. The Torrex XT got 336, I believe. So about 10 more feet per second is what you're gonna gain per bow. So moved it back to 29.5, 80% let off, 500 grain arrow, 70 pounds. $278, man, that's awesome. So right under my ideal feet per second with my hunting arrow. So obviously you bump up the weight of the hunting arrow, that weight will slow down a little bit. And then if you lessen the weight of the hunting arrow, it'll go up a little bit. But anywhere right around 280 to me is a perfect feet per second. So that's just one more thing on top of this bow. Budget bow. Let's see how consistent it is, but right at 280 off the bat. 293. That one was a little bit more dead center on the chronograph, so let's shoot a couple more. Let's see kind of where it averages out to be at, but that's a great speed. 276. I'm gonna go ahead and say this is probably right at 280 or right under, which is awesome. Great speed. 285, so yeah, right around 280 because it got 2 and 2. Actually, let's do a tiebreaker. Because that's kind of a deduction on the points right there. So if it gets, next one gets above 280, we'll give it the 10 out of 10. And if we're back hanging around those 270s, we'll give it the 8 out of 10. 275. Okay, so right under 280. Let's do one more. I really want to give it the 10 out of 10 just because I think it's shooting some great speeds, and man, I really like this bow. So one more. 276. Okay, so I'm thinking that's probably the most accurate, is right under 280, which is still an amazing speed. It does get the 8 out of 10, but man, that's a great speed for that bow. All right, let's slap a grade on this thing. Let me start off by saying I still do it, even though I know not to, and this is why I'm doing this. This is why I wanted to start Backyard Bows, was to kind of get away from that judgmental aspect that we all carry with us with bow hunting, and kind of let people understand that you can venture out there and there's some really cool stuff out there. So I'll be the first to say it. When I picked this up in the store, man, I thought, oh, plastic limb pockets. I hated the grip. I kept thinking like, man, $7.99, $8.99. What you're paying for is that Hoyt sticker. that this thing could, there's no way this thing could outperform some of the other flagship bows by that much, or it would be that worth it. I'm gonna tell you, after shooting this for a full day, this is one of the best performing bows that we've had in here. This thing was, it was easy to shoot, effortless, accurate. The hold on it was really, really nice. And it's a nice, short, compact bow. And this thing just all around performance-wise was awesome, which we'll get to that in a second. But, you know, the one thing I entered this review anticipating was trying to distinguish, is this worth the money that you're gonna pay for it? So let me just start off by saying yes. If you got an extra 200 bucks and you're kind of on the underside of that 1,000, that budget range, wanting to spend 5 or 6, but you can afford the extra 2, go for it. I mean, obviously go shoot the bow, but I think you're gonna be really pleasantly surprised with this. So it got the let's say 275, so we got 8 out of 10 for the speed. I wanted to give it the 10 out of 10, but I think more consistently it was average and under. Quality, durability, we gave it a 7. You know, everything on this thing, from the plastic limb pockets to the sliding roller, sliding cable guard, you know, it's as basic as you can get. But that's obviously kind of the give and take with the budget bows. Appeal, I also gave it a 7. I like the way it looks, it's just not my favorite. It's very simple. And then the technology, I gave it a 6, because honestly, this is as basic as you can get. From the cam system, you know, I love that you can change the draw length. It's very simple. I love the sticker on the side. They make this thing as simple as you can get for somebody who's looking to maybe begin, wants to spend a little bit less money, but wants a nice quality bow, or somebody who's, you know, wants to make that one next purchase, kind of that step up, and maybe wants a little room to grow with it. This is a great bow as well. Performance, I gave it a 9. And we haven't given a ton of bows a 9, but I think factoring in that it is a budget style bow, and this is the bow that Hoyt has created for the affordable hunter, this is the best budget bow performance-wise, hands down. There's even a little space between this and the next one, in my opinion. I shot the best with this bow, or I shot just as good with this bow as any of the flagship bows. And I said it in the video, but you slap some metal limb pockets on here, you put a nice roller guard, cable guard system on here, and you got a flagship bow. I mean, something that they could sell as a flagship bow, or something that looks as a flagship bow. This thing performs, is amazing. So it also gets a +3 because it's under 1,000, kind of those makeup points, which gives it a 40 out of 50, a nice round 80 out of 100. It's almost the highest budget bow that we've given grade-wise. I think if it would have got bumped up that speed almost to averaging around 280 or right above 280 and got that 10 out of 10, it probably would be one of the most well-graded budget bows we've had here. But this is an absolutely fantastic bow for a wide range of hunters, which I love. So don't judge a book by its cover. Even I have to step back sometimes and kind of say, hey, I really need to shoot this and really get after some shooting before I decide whether or not I like a bow. Appeal is nothing, you know, when you factor that in. I know it kind of all goes into our decision making, but that's, you know, obviously just for fun for me. But man, make sure you get bows in your hand. Get a ton of different bows in your hand. Get into a bow shop, shoot a whole bunch of different bows, ones that you don't think that you would like, ones that you pick up and kind of put down. Make sure you shoot them first before you make that final decision. Follow us on Instagram, YouTube, kind of view all the videos that we've already done, all the bows that we've already reviewed. There's plenty more to come. We'll be giving updates on Instagram from time to time. Make sure that you get your reps in on the daily, and we'll see you next Saturday.